It was a warm summer evening when I first laid eyes on James. We were introduced at a mutual friend's party, and from that moment, there was an undeniable connection between us. His vibrant blue eyes sparkled with warmth and sincerity, and his smile lit up the room. We spent the entire evening engrossed in conversation, laughing and discovering shared interests. As the night drew to a close, James asked if he could walk me home. The moonlight illuminated our path as we strolled through the quiet streets, getting to know each other on a deeper level. We shared stories, dreams, and aspirations, and it felt as if we had known each other for a lifetime. As we reached my doorstep, James gently held my hand and looked into my eyes. "Fiona, tonight has been nothing short of magical. I can't deny the connection I feel with you. Will you allow me the privilege of taking you out on a proper date?" I couldn't contain my smile as I nodded. "James, I would be honored to go on a date with you. This evening has been absolutely wonderful, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us." Little did I know that our journey would lead us to a beautiful love story. Over the following months, James and I grew inseparable. Our love deepened with each passing day, and it became evident that we were meant to be together. We shared countless adventures, from romantic weekends away to simple moments of joy spent cooking together in our cozy kitchen. One evening, as we sat on our favorite park bench, watching the sunset, James took my hand in his and spoke with a tender voice. "Fiona, these past months have been the best of my life. You've brought light and happiness into every corner of my world. I can't imagine a future without you. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked into his loving gaze. "Oh, James, yes! 1,000 times! Yes, you are the love of my life, and I can't wait to spend forever with you." Our engagement was a joyful celebration, shared with our loved ones, and soon the day of our wedding arrived. It was a picturesque ceremony filled with laughter, tears of joy, and heartfelt vows. Surrounded by our family and friends, James and I exchanged rings, sealing our love for eternity. As we danced our first dance as husband and wife, I couldn't help but marvel at the incredible journey that had brought us together. James leaned in, whispering into my ear, "Fiona, you are my everything. I promise to cherish you, support you, and love you with all my heart for the rest of our days. And I promise to stand by your side through thick and thin to love you fiercely and unconditionally," I replied, my voice filled with adoration. We continued dancing, the world around us fading into the background as we embarked on our new chapter as Mr. and Mrs. James Hamilton. Little did we know that life would soon present us with unforeseen challenges that would test the strength of our love and commitment. But for now, as we swayed together in each other's arms, our love shone bright and the future brimmed with endless possibilities. After the euphoria of our wedding, James and I settled into married life, reveling in the bliss of being husband and wife. However, fate had a different plan in store for us. It was a sunny afternoon when we received the devastating news that James' mother, Margaret, had fallen seriously ill. We rushed to the hospital, anxiety coursing through our veins. As we entered her room, we found Margaret frail and weak, her face marked by lines of worry and pain. Her eyes brightened at the sight of her son and me, and a feeble smile tugged at her lips. "James, Fiona, I'm so glad you're here," Margaret said, her voice filled with gratitude and vulnerability. "I didn't expect this to happen, but I know I'm in good hands with both of you." James and I exchanged concerned glances, our hearts heavy with the weight of the situation. Without hesitation, we assured Margaret that we would bring her home with us, where she would receive the care and support she needed. As we settled into the role of caregivers, our lives underwent a significant transformation. Our once serene home became a haven of medical equipment, soft whispers, and a delicate balance of hope and fear. James and I took turns tending to Margaret's needs, from administering medication to comforting her during moments of distress. Days turned into weeks, and our routines revolved around Margaret's well-being. We adjusted our schedules, making sure one of us was always by her side, ready to offer a comforting touch or a listening ear. It was a challenging time, but we approached it with love and unwavering dedication. One evening, as Margaret rested in her room, I sat down beside her, holding her fragile hand in mine. "Margaret, you're not alone in this. We are here for you, and we will do everything in our power to make you comfortable and provide the care you need," I reassured her, my voice filled with warmth. Tears welled up in Margaret's eyes as she looked at me with a mixture of gratitude and vulnerability. "Fiona, my dear, you have brought so much light into James' life. I couldn't have asked for a better daughter-in-law. Thank you for your love and for taking care of me during this difficult time." A lump formed in my throat as I squeezed her hand gently. "Margaret, you're family to me. We will get through this together, and I promise to be here for you every step of the way." And so, our journey as a family continued, with Margaret becoming an integral part of our daily lives. We shared stories, laughter, and even tears as we navigated the challenges of her illness. Despite the hardships, a bond formed between us, built on love, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to care for one another. In the coming weeks, Margaret's condition fluctuated, sometimes giving us glimmers of hope, other times causing us to fear the worst. But through it all, our love remained steadfast, reminding us of the strength we possessed as a united front. Little did we know that as Margaret's health declined, her presence in our lives would become the catalyst for a series of unexpected events that would test the limits of our devotion and lead to a profound shift in the dynamics of our family. As the days turned into weeks, Margaret's health continued to decline, casting a somber shadow over our lives. The once lively woman we knew had become a mere shell of her former self. It was heart-wrenching to witness her suffering, and each day brought new challenges and moments of anguish. James, burdened by the weight of his mother's deteriorating condition, grew increasingly nervous and anxious. He would spend sleepless nights by her side, fretting over every medical update and grasping for any glimmer of hope. I watched as the toll of his worry etched lines upon his face, his once carefree demeanor replaced by a constant state of distress. In those moments, I became his anchor, offering words of comfort and reassurance. "James, we're doing everything we can for your mother. We have to stay strong and have faith in her resilience. She knows she's not alone, and our love and support will help her through this." His eyes, filled with exhaustion and fear, met mine, seeking solace. "Fiona, I don't know what I would do without you. Your presence gives me strength, and I'm grateful to have you by my side during this difficult time." Together, we navigated the challenges of Margaret's illness, attending to her needs with unwavering dedication. We learned to administer medication, monitor her vitals, and provide emotional support, creating a delicate balance between being caregivers and being her family. As the days stretched into months, the strain on both James and me grew, but our determination to provide the best care for Margaret remained unwavering. We celebrated small victories, like moments of clarity and fleeting smiles, holding on to the hope that they signified progress. But reality often brought us crashing down, reminding us of the cruel nature of the illness that held Margaret captive. One particularly difficult evening, as we sat in the dimly lit room, the sounds of medical equipment humming in the background, James slumped into the chair, his face etched with exhaustion. "I can't bear to see her like this, Fiona. It's tearing me apart. I feel so helpless." I placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, offering a gentle squeeze. "James, I understand how you feel. It's natural to feel overwhelmed, but remember that we are doing everything we can. Margaret knows that we love her, and that love is what will help us get through this." He nodded, tears brimming in his eyes. "You're right, Fiona. I just need to find a way to cope with this uncertainty and be strong for both of us." In those moments of vulnerability, we found solace in each other's presence, leaning on one another for support. The weight of the situation strengthened our bond, reminding us of the resilience of our love and the power of unity in the face of adversity. Despite the challenges, Margaret's spirit remained unbroken. She faced her illness with unwavering courage, teaching us the importance of resilience and cherishing each precious moment. Our home became a sanctuary of compassion and unwavering care, a a testament to the love that bound us together. Little did we know that the long nights and the heavy burden of caring for Margaret would soon lead us down a path we never anticipated, one that would challenge our marriage and reveal the true depths of our characters. It was a fateful morning when I awoke to an empty bed, the warmth of James' presence noticeably absent. Panic fluttered in my chest as I called out for him, but my voice echoed through the empty house, unanswered. I hurriedly made my way to Margaret's room, hoping to find some answers. As I approached her bed, Margaret lay still, her frail form wrapped in blankets. "Margaret, have you seen James this morning?" I asked, my voice tinged with worry. She turned her gaze toward me, her eyes filled with concern. "I'm afraid not, Fiona. I heard someone leave the house during the night, but I didn't have the strength to investigate." Dread washed over me as I considered the possibilities. What could have prompted James to leave without a word? Questions swirled in my mind, but I knew I had to act swiftly. I dialed James' number repeatedly, my heart pounding with each unanswered call. Fear mingled with frustration as I searched through our shared closet, only to find half of his belongings missing. My mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzle of his sudden disappearance. I needed answers, and I was determined to find them. Driven by a mix of concern and intuition, I turned my attention to our joint savings, stored securely in a home safe. Opening it with trembling hands, I discovered that a significant sum of our $300,000 had been withdrawn. It was a staggering blow, leaving me with a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. Determined to uncover the truth, I sifted through James' mail, desperately seeking clues. Among the letters, a purchase confirmation caught my eye, a reservation for 2 at a prestigious hotel. It was as if a sharp dagger pierced my heart, the realization hitting me with full force. James had gone to the hotel, not alone, but with a stranger, betraying our sacred vows. Shock and anger surged within me, the weight of betrayal pushing me to the edge. I stormed back to Margaret's room, my voice laced with a mix of pain and resolve. "Margaret, I have discovered the truth. James has left me for another woman. How could he do this to us?" Her voice, weak but filled with compassion, responded Fiona. "My dear, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. You don't deserve this pain, but remember, you are not alone. I will stand by you, and I will do everything in my power to support you." Her words brought a flicker of solace amidst the turmoil in my heart. With her unwavering support, I knew I had to make a choice, one that would shape my destiny and grant me the justice I sought. In an act of both defiance and self-preservation, Margaret made a decision that would alter the course of our lives. She spoke softly, her voice tinged with a hint of resignation. "Fiona, I have very little time left. I want you to have everything that is mine, everything I have worked for. Take the house, take the money. It's yours, my dear." Tears welled up in my eyes as I stared at her, overwhelmed by her generosity. "Margaret, I couldn't possibly accept. It's your hard-earned wealth." She smiled weakly. "Consider it my final gift to you, a token of my appreciation for the love and care you have shown me. You deserve to live a better life, free from the betrayal and pain inflicted upon you." Her words resonated deep within my soul, and with a heavy heart, I accepted her offer. In that moment, the balance of power shifted, and I knew that it was time to take control of my own destiny. Weeks passed, and Margaret's health continued to decline, but her spirit remained strong. In the quiet moments we shared, she reassured me that I had made the right choice, that my newfound independence was the ultimate revenge against James and his betrayal. Little did I know that the consequences of his actions would extend beyond our shattered marriage. The day would come when James would return, seeking answers and his mother's inheritance, only to find that the tables had turned. It was a moment of reckoning, where the consequences of his choices would be laid bare. As our paths diverged, the pain of the past still fresh, I emerged stronger, ready to embrace the life that was rightfully mine. Margaret's legacy and the love she bestowed upon me became the pillars of my newfound journey, leading me towards a future brimming with possibilities, while James was left to face the consequences of his actions. In the aftermath of James's sudden departure, I found solace in the support and love of Margaret, who had become not just a mother-in-law, but also a confidant and ally. As I settled into my new role as the caretaker of our home, I couldn't help but wonder about the true extent of James' betrayal. One morning, a month after his disappearance, the doorbell rang, interrupting the silence that had enveloped the house. As I opened the door, I was met with the sight of James, his face etched with a mix of anger and desperation. "Fiona, I need to talk to you," he demanded, his voice tinged with urgency. Reluctantly, I allowed him inside, curiosity mingling with apprehension. Margaret, weakened by her illness, lay in the adjacent room, unaware of the tension that filled the air. With a tone of accusation, James confronted me. "Has my mother written a will, Fiona? Tell me." I held his gaze, my voice steady as I replied, "James, your mother has already made her decision. She has given me everything. She saw the truth of your actions and chose to support me." His face contorted with anger, he spat out, "How could you do this? Taking advantage of her in her fragile state? You're just trying to punish me." I met his anger with a steely resolve, no longer willing to be the victim in his web of deception. "James, I didn't ask for any of this. Your betrayal forced my hand. Your betrayal forced my hand. Your actions spoke louder than words, and now you have to face the consequences." His eyes widened, a mixture of realization and regret flickering across his face. "I never meant for it to come to this, Fiona. I made a terrible mistake, and I deeply regret what I did. Can't we find a way to fix things?" My heart softened momentarily, memories of the love we once shared tugging at my emotions. But then the sting of his betrayal resurfaced, and I stood firm. "James, there's no going back. You made your choices, and now we must live with the consequences. It's time for both of us to move on." His shoulders slumped, defeat evident in his posture. "I never thought it would come to this. I'm left with nothing. No money, no mistress, and no future. Is this the revenge you sought?" I looked him in the eye, my voice laced with determination. "This was never about revenge, James. It was about finding my own worth, reclaiming my life after the devastation you brought upon us. I deserve better, and so does Margaret. Now, it's time for you to accept the consequences of your actions and find your own path forward." With a heavy heart, I escorted James to the door, closing it behind him. As I turned to face Margaret, her eyes brimming with pride, I knew that I had made the right decision. The shackles of betrayal had been broken, and in their place, I found the strength to forge a new path. From that day forward, Margaret's health continued to decline, but her spirit remained unyielding. She held onto life with a tenacity that amazed me, her unwavering support a constant reminder of the resilience we possessed. In the weeks that followed, the divorce was finalized, severing the last remnants of our shattered marriage. James was left to rebuild his life, facing the consequences of his choices, while I embraced the newfound freedom and security that Margaret had bestowed upon me. With Margaret's passing, I mourned the loss of a remarkable woman, but her legacy lived on within me. The house, once a symbol of shared dreams, now became a sanctuary of independence and empowerment. The substantial sum she had entrusted to me provided the means to create a better life, one filled with opportunities and a future that I could shape on my terms. As I moved forward, free from the chains of betrayal, I couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph. The tables had turned, and I had emerged stronger. The wounds of the past would always leave a mark, but they no longer defined me. I had found my revenge, not in the destruction of others, but in the reclamation of my own happiness and the realization that I deserved a life filled with love, respect, and prosperity. A few days later, a knock on the door interrupted my solitude. Opening it, I was met with the unexpected sight of my ex-husband, James, standing before me. His face bore the weight of his mistakes, etched with regret and a hint of humility. "Fiona, can we talk?" he asked, his voice laced with vulnerability. Reluctantly, I invited him in, the memories of our shared past flooding back. We sat in the living room, the air heavy with unspoken words. "I never imagined it would come to this," James began, his eyes brimming with remorse. "I've lost everything, my reputation, my career, and most importantly, you. I'm sorry for the pain I've caused, for the choices I made." I listened, the wounds of the past still fresh, but no longer bleeding. "James, I appreciate your apology, but forgiveness takes time. The consequences you're facing now are a result of your actions, and I hope they serve as a lesson for the future." He nodded, his gaze fixed on the floor. "I understand, Fiona. I've come to realize the magnitude of my betrayal and the irreparable damage it has caused. I hope you find it in your heart to someday forgive me." A moment of silence passed between us, the weight of our shared history hanging in the air. Finally, I spoke, my voice filled with a mixture of strength and compassion. "James, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means letting go of the anger and resentment that once consumed me, but it will take time for me to heal, to move forward. I wish you the best in finding your own path to redemption." With those words, I gently showed him to the door, the closure I sought finally within reach. Our paths had diverged, and though the wounds may never fully heal, I had found the strength to rise above the pain and create a life filled with purpose and joy. In the days that followed, I focused on building my future, utilizing the resources Margaret had entrusted to me. I pursued my passions, investing in my own personal growth and seeking opportunities that aligned with my newfound sense of self. With each step forward, I felt the weight of the past slowly dissipate, replaced by a renewed sense of hope and resilience. The support of my sisterhood, Rachel's unwavering friendship, and the love I had cultivated for myself became the foundation upon which my new beginning was built. And as I reflected on the journey I had undertaken, the love story that turned sour, the challenges faced, and the revenge sought and achieved, I knew that I had not just found a new beginning, but also a newfound strength to face whatever life may throw my way. With my head held high, I embarked on this next chapter of my life, leaving behind the remnants of a broken marriage and embracing the freedom and happiness that awaited me